and jump right in. So if you are in the Zoom call for Region 4 Virtual Member Connection Meeting, you are in the right place. So again, thank you for everybody that is taking some time away from your morning to check in and make sure everybody's still alive. And congratulations to every one of you. We've survived Jumanji level 5 or whatever this is. So congratulations for that. All right, moving on. First of all, I want to thank our sponsors. Again, this event, not that it wouldn't have been possible, but we wouldn't have been able to keep it free for both members and non-members if it wasn't for the contributions of these sponsors. So again, the American Council on Exercise, Canon Design, Full Circle Padding, Innosoft, Octane Fitness, Play, Sasaki, True, and Woodway. So again, if not for their contribution, we would not have been able to keep this event free for not just members, but also non-members. We felt like, especially in this environment, we needed to get people connected, and this is a good way to reach out to our folks in the region that aren't NIRSA members to get folks involved and get people plugged in. Oops, my fault, wrong way. All right, so Region 4, the folks representing you, myself, I'm Matt Beck, I'm the Region 4 rep, as well as Grayson Graham, who is our student leader. He's also on the call, and you'll hear from him a little bit later. So Grayson's from Emporia State University. I don't know what your thing is, Stickum or whatever it is. Sure. So folks, we have 400 people that registered for this event. So typically for a NIRSA Region 4 conference, we range anywhere from about 225 to somewhere in the 300 range, kind of depending on where it is. So 400 for us is quite a large number. We're pretty excited about that. And within that 400, we have a lot of folks that don't usually attend these things, which that was kind of the goal, to really plug people in, kind of show them what we're all about, get people connected, and again, have an opportunity for development, because a lot of our state workshops that normally occur around this time aren't able to occur this year due to COVID. So again, welcome folks that are here for the first time. Do we have any first-time members on the call? If you do, maybe wave, give a thumbs up, put an emoji out there just to let us know that you're new with us. If not, no big deal. Perfect. All right, so your member network for 2020, 2021. So typically on this slide, you would see a group photo from training that would have occurred over the summer or onboarding that would have occurred over the summer. However, with COVID, that wasn't able to occur. So unfortunately, we were not able to get together. So since we started our term in May, we've been doing everything virtually, as I'm sure you guys have with your own teams. So some of these folks I have not even met in person yet. However, we've had some great calls. We've been doing a lot of good work to support the association while we've been virtual. All right, so our focus for this year, as you can imagine, memberships are a concern, especially from April until about mid-summer time. There was quite a bit of a drop-off in terms of member renewals and things of that nature. So there is quite a bit of outreach that's going on right now and trying to get some programming and things available for folks to really add value to their membership at this time, as well as trying to plug people into resources on how to get back open or programming for COVID-19, whatever the case may be. We're really trying to keep people connected within the association at this time. And again, the member mentee program is another focus. That's a committee that I serve on. And there is going to be a forum later in the week to really talk about that and get your feedback on ways that we can potentially make this better. For the first time, I think, since we've had this program, we actually have quite a few more mentors than we do mentees. So we need to plug in students and GAs and young professionals that want to be involved with this program. I know I did a conference session when we were in Tulsa last year. I think there were roughly 60 people in a room, and it just did a quick show of hands to see, who was familiar with the NIRSA Mentor Program, and only about 15 people out of the 60 raised their hands. So it's something that we want to get more people aware of, and obviously get more people plugged into that as well as putting out some new resources. You've probably noticed through the summer, and we'll talk about some of these later in the presentation, of digital offerings that we're putting forth. We are well aware that Zoom burnout is a real thing. So we're trying to spread things out and diversify a little bit and not just overkill people with digital offerings. But we do have a digital think tank that's working through this. I'm involved with that as well. And again, trying to get people recruited on the regional level to serve in positions. And you'll hear more about that later on in the presentation. All right, well, let's highlight some folks within the region for what they're doing and how they're making the region much better, making the association better. All right, so let's kind of go through the various states within the region. So we're going to start with Arkansas. So our state director is Gina Caro. She's from the University of Arkansas. So Gina, hopefully she will have successfully defended her dissertation. I think that's today, actually. So I got my fingers crossed for her. And then our state student leader for Arkansas is Taylor Crabtree, also from the University of Arkansas. Moving on to Kansas. So our state director is Daniel Frogel from Emporia State University. And our student leader is also from Emporia State University. You guys at Emporia are really holding it down in Kansas. Is Johnny Kiefer. State of Louisiana, our state director is Seth Thomas from Southeast Louisiana University. And our state student leader is Austin Marks from Louisiana, or University of Louisiana Lafayette. Moving on to Missouri. So a familiar face. I think this is her 4th or 5th term in a row. Who knows? Seems like she's been in this role for a while. Our state director is Lauren Easter from Missouri State. And our state student leader is Paul Harmon. And that name, if it looks familiar, probably is to you. So our former Region 4 student leader was Katie. That is Paul's older sister. So Paul is from Truman State University. State of Oklahoma. So our state director is Clee Sellers from Oklahoma State University. And our student leader is Jake Heidenreich, also from Oklahoma State University. Go Hooks. And moving on to Texas. So our state director, O.C. Wheatfall from Texas A&M University. And our state student leader is Belinda Sanchez from Texas A&M Commerce. Want to put a quick plug. So if those of you have connections in New Mexico, this has been an ongoing issue that we have had problems trying to get people plugged in from New Mexico. We would like to have state leadership, both in the state director position as well as the student leader position from New Mexico. We've tried some outreach opportunities to try to get people plugged in, and unfortunately those have not been successful. So if you know folks that are professionals or student members within New Mexico, again, get them plugged in, have them contact me, and let's get them plugged in. So we'd like to get New Mexico more involved. So one thing that is new this year that our Region 4 leadership team, so myself and the state director as well as student leaders, we wanted to plug more people in Region 4 and give people opportunities. So that's one thing that I've heard as a regional rep the most, I think, since I've started, is I've applied for things, I just haven't been selected, but I'd love to serve. And so we wanted to create some opportunities to make that happen and get more people plugged in. So we did create a series of committees. So our region was one of a few that did not have a communications committee. So I feel for the previous region's reps that did not have this. So the social media, the newsletters that go out, all communications that come from essentially the region rep, that was falling on the regional rep themselves as well as the student leader to do all of that, which is quite a bit. So we were able to talk to some of the other regions to kind of see how they had it structured, and we created a communications committee of our own. And one thing that we also heard from state directors is they wanted to have not more to do, but they wanted to be more involved in other things in the region other than just state leadership. So we have selected a state director for each of these committees to try to push this message forward, and student leaders served as the vice chair. So we've got leadership on each committee, as well as different opportunities, again, that we offer for people within the region. So I'm not going to call everybody's name out because it would take forever, because all these committees have several, but we added over 30 positions for Region 4 service through these committees. So just to highlight some things that the Region 4 Communications Committee has done, and there is a session on this later in the conference, which I totally encourage you guys to attend. So they've done the COVID conversation series that you probably saw this summer on our social media. So they would interview people and talk to them about their reopening plans throughout the region. They also have done some other video series that they've done. They've also helped the other committees push out surveys. And again, they've really improved the quality of content on our social media that we've been pushing out. We did add a Region 4 Facebook page that I posted a link for later in the presentation as well. So they've been doing some great work, so kudos to them. Our Region 4 Facilities Committee. So Gina heads that up along with Taylor and Johnny. And we've got several folks throughout the region, and that's one thing that I was pretty pleased after getting the applications back and kind of putting everybody on the committees that we did. We've got a pretty solid representation from across the region. It's not just one state or a few states, it's pretty well spread out. The Region 4 Facilities Committee has already done one roundtable that they did, I believe it was in August or September. And they're going to be doing 2 roundtables during this conference. So they're going to be doing an indoor facilities roundtable as well as an outdoor facilities roundtable. They also pushed out a survey to kind of see what people were doing with reopening and making those results available, and that kind of informed the questions for the roundtable as well. So they're doing some great work. The Fitness Committee. So Jamie Thayer from Washburn is heading this up along with Jake from OSU. So the Fitness Committee, they are trying to make fitness more of a priority within the region. Is one thing that we noticed when looking at the members within Region 4 that are fitness professionals. There aren't very many of them, and we pushed out a survey to try to find out why this is. And again, you can probably imagine a lot of fitness professionals need to have certifications, and they have to stay on top of those CEUs that accompany those certifications, and some of the development opportunities that NIRSA has available doesn't necessarily meet that need. So we're working towards potentially even having a Region 4 fitness opportunity that we can add some CEUs to, again, give more value to a NIRSA membership for those folks that are fitness professionals within the region. So they have also pushed out a survey. They've also been doing a video series along with the communications committee of wellness tips and tricks and things of that nature that you've probably seen. And they are also doing a roundtable during the conference. So the Intramural Sports Committee. So Clee Sellers from OSU is the chair. Grayson from Emporia State is the vice chair. So they've also pushed out a survey. They also created a document that provided some resources related to COVID-19 that people could try different programming, and they're continuing to build on that all the time, as well as talking potential partnerships and things like that that we can potentially do later on. So that work is gonna continue on. The Region 4 Club Sports Committee. So Lauren Easter from Missouri State has that up along with Paul from Truman. This has probably been the most challenging group in that club sports, as I'm sure you guys have experienced as well. They've been stifled quite a bit due to COVID. They haven't been able to do much, especially with travel restrictions and budget cuts at universities. So they've basically just been trying to keep people plugged in as to what national organizations are doing or recommending, as well as what are other schools allowed to do versus not. So we can kind of just keep the communication flowing for the region schools so we can kind of know what's going on. So that work is ongoing as well. there will be, again, a roundtable during the conference to talk club sports more. The Student Development Committee. So this group is going to be tasked with putting on the Region 4 Student Lead-On. So that's one difference from this conference, from previous conferences. Typically, our Student Lead-On would be associated with this event. Due to the nature of this, we wanted that to be separate and dedicated to our students. So we are going to be hosting that event in February. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. So that will occur right around the time that a lot of GA positions are starting to fill and folks are preparing for graduation. So that is ongoing. Again, that'll happen in February. But this group is primarily charged with that. They're also going to be putting out a series of development opportunities. They've already done one. I believe it was on October 13th. That was like Zoom interviewing tips. So we're going to be putting these out periodically. I think they're shooting for one in November as well. So please look for that. It'll be on our social media, and we'll try to push out those links on our Region 4 newsletter also. All right, so spotlights, more for Region 4. So looking at different committees and sessions done, we've had about 76 members from Region 4 that volunteered to either serve on a committee or presented. That's not counting the roughly 30 that are presenting at this conference, as well as the 34 folks that I mentioned previously that are serving on those Region 4 specific committees, which is, again, outstanding. So very thankful for those folks and their service. And again, I want to highlight the 2020 award recipients that we had. Andy, who won the Horace Moody, Stephanie for the NIRSA Annual Service Award, Randall and Jacob also on that major, Todd Meisner from Oklahoma State, my boss, for the Research and Assessment Award, and Andy Lemons, who was our Region 4 Award of Merit recipient. So congratulations to all of those individuals. So some quick updates. So our contingency fund balance is roughly $13,000. What is our region contingency fund for those that don't know? So a portion of the proceeds from any events that we have, so if we were to have an in-person regional event, for instance, a portion of the registrations that we will bring in would go towards this. There is a minimum balance that we must hold. This is kind of a rainy day fund just to make sure we can cover whatever it is that may occur. Due to some very quick thinking on the part of our previous rep, Jared Jackson, as well as Mary from NIRSA, we were able to avoid having to pay some cancellation fees for the regional event that was scheduled to occur in Denton about this time, actually at this time. So we were one of the few regions that did not have to pay any cancellation fee because we were able to push that back. So our contingency fund is essentially flat. So we haven't really spent anything out of this since I've taken over. Really, the only expenditure we've had was essentially this Zoom account to allow this event to occur. But due to the sponsorship that I referred to earlier, we are going to add roughly $2,500 to that contingency fund, which is outstanding. And so that, over and above the minimum, can assist with scholarships as well as sending people to events. Now, the NIRSA Foundation endowment fund is roughly $38,000. And so what is that? So that's been set aside essentially to fund scholarships and development opportunities. So the only spending that we do out of that account is from the interest. So that's roughly anywhere from $1,500 to about $2,000 annually in interest. And we use that money to fund scholarships to whether it be a regional event, annual conference, or a NIRSA specific, like the School of, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But that would fund scholarships. And this year, due to previous years' scholarships funding a full conference that didn't happen. So the NIRSA annual conference was supposed to happen in April. Obviously, it wasn't able to happen. We had scholarships allotted for that at roughly anywhere from $300 to $500. The NIRSA event for 2021, which I'll talk about here in a minute, is not going to be that much. And so the savings essentially from all the regions are going to roll in to be able to fund more scholarships. And the cost of that event in 2021 is going to be much lower. So instead of funding anywhere from 3 to 5 scholarships for 2021, we're going to be able to fund as many as 15 to 20 scholarships for 2021. So it's a big deal. All right. Referred to a few potential online events. I'm just going to highlight some that we have coming up or that we already had that have occurred. So again, you might have seen the NIRSA Summer of Learning that was put on by Life Fitness, sponsored that event. So it was free to members. There was a charge for non-members. So those recordings are still available. So if you happen to miss that, you can find that on the NIRSA Grow tab on the NIRSA.org website. So those recordings, again, are still available if you want to go back and watch, whether it be Summer Learning or the Virtual Career Development Week that occurred back in April. So they're still available, so definitely check those out. So there's some great content there. And I'm sure you're also familiar with the Ideas in Motion series that took off in April. So periodically they would have different topics and have a presenter on that topic. Again, it was free to members, and those recordings, I believe, are still available as well. We also try to do some connections via the rec chat, as well as different video calls, and one highlighted here from the NIRSA President David, as well as Pam. And we'll continue to do that periodically, whether it be a live stream on Twitter or Instagram or whatever it may be. And I do have to chuckle because NIRSA does have a Pinterest, FYI. That was something that I learned. I did not know we had a Pinterest. Good times. All right. So I'm going to pitch it to Grayson real quick to talk a little bit about NIRSA's Career Development Week. Take it away.
Yeah, so this year it's going to be during November 9th to the 11th. Registration is currently open right now. Just looking at a schedule that is planned, there is a lot of great opportunities for anyone to learn from, whether you've been in Campus Rec for 15 plus years or this is your first year. They are going to be doing some mock interviews, talking about discussions from people that are progressively going up the ladder in their own university or they're bouncing around in their region and so forth. Kind of touching back on what Matt was talking about with the rec chat, the student leadership team, we are progressively continuing to put out more calls regarding social injustices and just awareness that everyone needs to learn more about. I believe we're taking a break in the month of November, but plan on putting some more out here in the near-time future. So be on the lookout for more of those.
Great, thank you, Grayson. As well as this year, the NIRSA Facilities Program was supposed to be associated with the Athletic Business Conference, which would have occurred in early November. Obviously, that didn't happen. So they are going to try to do a facilities program virtually in December. I don't believe that date has been established yet. So again, stay tuned. We're going to hopefully have that information available for you in the coming weeks. Oops. Oh, sorry, going the wrong direction. All right. Grayson, you want to talk about the lead on?
Yeah, so we are also planning on doing a little activity in November, kind of around the NIRSA Development Week, Career Development Week. So that will be coming out with some more information here coming up. We decided to post our student lead on in February, just so we can learn a little bit more from the other regions as they have their student lead ons with their conferences, but as well as we kind of want to take a small break due to Zoom burnout and whatnot, and just host the best possible lead on we can. With that, I also want to touch base that although I just started in the regional student leader position, we are looking for someone to fill my spot coming into the next school year. The application closes on November 7th, and so that is currently open. If anyone would like any information, please reach out to me or any of the other student state leaders, and we can get you hooked up with all the information you need.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Grayson. All right, just want to really highlight some online resources that are available, obviously with the national climate related to a lot of equity and diversity inclusion issues that have occurred over the summer especially. I want to highlight some resources that NIRSA has available. There is an EDI resource guide that you can find on the NIRSA website. It's got some great resources on there for you. As well as something that the Assembly worked on a few years ago. I think I served on the Assembly when we created this, is essentially a civil discourse guide. Because that's something that's lacking in society today. So we definitely want to try to bring that back, especially on campus and in the roles that we play on campus. So definitely check that out. Some good stuff there as well. All right, some basic association highlights. So NIRSA Awards season, we're in the midst of it. So applications are due by November 16th. So NIRSA Awards, so Horace Moody. So those typically would be people that have served as great mentors, especially mentors to students, as well as the NIRSA Region 4 Award of Merit and some other awards like we highlighted earlier. So the application for those is really coming up soon. So if you've got some folks that you would like to nominate, please get on there and do that. Now will also be some additional service opportunities to folks to be on those committees to help select those individuals. So I will be reaching out to a few individuals in the next month or so to serve on those committees to help select folks and award them, which would be fantastic. And as Grayson mentioned, we do have some deadlines coming up for opportunities for service. As he mentioned, November 7th is the deadline for the student leader position. So we'll be filling his role along with the state student leaders. So if you have students that you know of that would be great for those roles, definitely have them apply so we can have them stand for election in January and get those positions filled. And again, there will be other NIRSA service opportunities for committees and things of that nature that will be coming up. Open on November 18th. That would again stand for later nomination. So I want to highlight, because you might be thinking to yourself, how do I get involved? Or maybe I don't have enough experience to get involved. The member network that served previously, I think Jared might have been actually involved with this also, created a pathway to leadership. So essentially outlined opportunities that could be available to you depending on where you're at within your NIRSA experience or your career to where you fit within that pathway. For instance, as you can see, emerging leaders, it kind of shows you what are some things that you can do to get plugged in, whether it's volunteering at a regional event or a championship series event or serving as a session monitor for a conference or whatever that may be. That's a good opportunity for emerging leaders. And then it kind of evolves into developing leaders, and that's service on committees and task forces and things like that. So we've outlined what those things look like. I can send this out to you as well, again, to help especially young professionals get plugged in and understand kind of where they fit within the framework and how they can serve, because we want more people to be involved within the region. Want to highlight again the NIRSA Foundation, and those of you that give to the foundation, again, thank you very much. Your support has definitely made a difference. The membership waiver program, so that this year has helped folks that have dealt with some hardship, whether it be from being furloughed or salary reductions or whatever the case may be, that NIRSA, through the foundation, was able to cover a portion up to the whole membership fee for some individuals. I think that program is ongoing. So again, if folks have dealt with a hardship, in order to keep their membership active, this program has been there to do that. Again, the foundation's work also supports research initiatives and scholarship and development. So there are various things that you can give to that flow through the foundation. And again, those of you that do, it is much appreciated. So, annual conference, I alluded to it earlier. It is happening. It will be virtual. So they are shooting for late February. So the date has not been set yet. But again, they're shooting for, I believe, last week of February. That's the last that I heard on that. There will be a fee. However, it is looking like it will be greatly reduced from a typical in-person conference. The last number I heard was roughly $100. For student members, it would be much less than that. Again, that's partially why our scholarship endowment funds are able to fund more opportunities to this, is because the cost is much less. One thing I can say about the conference as well, for those that, again, don't have the funds to pay for a conference, whether it be your department's not going to support that, or whatever the case may be, you would still have the opportunity to be provided with the link for the Region 4 meeting, as well as any state meetings. So even if you don't attend this conference, you still would have the opportunity to attend Region 4 meeting at conference, as well as any associated state meetings that would be occurring along with that. All right, as I mentioned earlier, so the Facebook page is new to us. So pull out your phones if you don't follow us currently, and you can scan that QR code, and that will take you to our Facebook page to follow it. You can see our other social media handles as well. I would also highlight our Region 4 website. So again, our communications team has done a lot of great work of improving the website, and it's kind of where all of those videos and really cool things that they have done live. So if you want to go check that out, again, it's region4.nirsa.net. Highly encourage you to do so. There's some great stuff there. And so with that, I will open it up to any questions that anybody may have, and I'll do my best to try and answer those. Or you can hold your peace, and that's cool too. All right, well, I'm not hearing any questions, but I will talk a little bit about the conference itself and kind of what you can expect from it. This was kind of the first hurdle, just to make sure everything worked, which kudos to us. We at least got one session in and yeah, raised the roof. I like that. So we've got roughly 30-something sessions, a mix of ed sessions as well as roundtables. We are a CEU provider. We have 30-minute sessions as well as 60-minute sessions. For a 30-minute sessions, that would be 0.5 CEUs. And for a 60-minute session, that would be 1.0 CEUs. For roundtables, as they don't have learning outcomes, they are not CEU programs. I just was notified that there are some questions in the chat, so I'll refer back to that here in just a second. If I can get my thing to work. Let me stop screen share real quick. Okay. Whoop. All right, so ERSL, also in February. That's good to know. Do you guys have a date set yet for ERSL? Those of you that are affiliated with it. Okay, there is a date. What is the date?
Matt, that is February 1st through the 19th.
1st through the 9th?
19th.
19th. Okay, great. So ERSL, so that is the Emerging Recreational Sports Leaders. So great conference, especially for young professionals. It's a great conference. I've been to it once. It's been several years ago. Again, Victoria posted a link to it in the chat for those that are interested in attending that conference. Again, great event, and I encourage more folks to attend that as well. So very cool. So it looks like February is going to be a really busy time for stuff, which is great. Awesome. Also kind of going back to the conference real quick. We have 2 breakout rooms established, so there will be session monitors for each, and they will be posting links to session evaluations, so make sure that you fill those out so we can get good feedback back to the presenters. And again, as it does say in the chat before we get off here, I want to highlight folks that were very instrumental in putting this thing together. So Jonathan Elliott, he was the chair for the committee. So he, along with his group, vetted the different sessions. He set in all the calls with NIRSA, trying to figure out how to make the logistics of this thing work, as well as putting all of the session schedules together. So there was a lot of work there that Jonathan and his group did. So again, very appreciative of that. Also want to highlight Daniel from Emporia State in the communications committee, that you guys did a lot of work as well, really pushing the conference and getting folks registered. So the fact that we have 400 plus, again, kudos to all of you guys for the work that you did. So very cool. Any other questions? Let's see.
There's another question in the chat, Matt.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Is the regional contingency balance available for regional championship series events to apply for assistance? So potentially. So we essentially have case by case on what the contingency fund will assist with, and it kind of depends on what those are. And it can potentially support an event. So if you had, like, for instance, if we had a state workshop going on, potentially the contingency fund could support that event. So if there is going to be some NCS type activities that do occur, it could potentially support that. Can I discuss what CEUs are for, and how do you get our RCRSP? So those two are related to one another. So the RCRSP, so that is the Registry of Collegiate Recreational Sports Professionals. So that is a designation for folks that want to show that they are committed to learning, committed to development. And so the CEUs go towards supporting that designation. It's good for a few years, and every few years you have to recertify with that and show how many CEUs that you have obtained. We try to have a balance of different CEUs. So for instance, they wouldn't all be in one competency area. We try to make sure that they are spread out and balanced. And so there is a professional registry committee that does vet those. In order to be an RCRSP designation, there is a minimum level of service that you have to meet prior. And I think that is one area that that particular group is working towards